Why are you looking so sad? Yeah. It's okay to be sad. No. So, we will continue with the Upanishad. We'll wait for 1 minute. Somebody coming. Hot? You can put on the AC. I believe it's warm. Yeah, I can see you. Sorry, that was the dal. It's not working. I'm okay, but I see lots of people. Just put it till everybody shivers. I still can't feel him. Okay, so Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamaduchyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Where did we? The ninth. But we discussed the ninth. Finished. Then you are free. No need of any other satsang required. We discussed. Andam tama pravishantiyo vidyayam, we discussed. And we also discussed that those who delight in knowledge enter into still greater darkness. Those who have finished it. Now the 10th shloka is fairly simple. It says, Anya devahur vidyaya, Anya dahur avidyaya, iti ishashrumadhiranam yanastat vyajachakshire. This means distinct indeed. Now the Rishi is very careful in all the Upanishads. He doesn't say it is so. He says, distinct indeed, they say, they is the result of knowledge, and distinct, they say, is the result of ignorance. Which means, if you have knowledge, then the result is different. If you are ignorant, the result, this is normal, right? Only problem is here they are saying that if you enter into ignorance, you enter into darkness, and you enter knowledge, you enter into greater darkness. And after saying that, they are saying the result of knowledge is distinct from the result of ignorance. Which means what? Which means to understand this fact, of what was mentioned earlier is here referred to as knowledge. So the result of understanding this is distinct from that of not understanding what has been said in the previous. This is what it means. Otherwise it's a meaningless sentence. And then the Rishi again says, this is not what I am saying. Iti shushrumadhiranam yanastatvyajachire. Thus we have heard from the wise who have explained these things to us, trying to be humble. He is not fond of his byline, saying they have explained this to us and this is what we are conveying to you. The word used here for the wise is very interesting. Dhiranam, those who had courage, those who were brave and the courageous, are here used for the word wise, which means to move on this path of understanding the difference between ignorance and knowledge. You need to be courageous to break all the ideas that you previously had. And this requires a great deal of courage. It's not easy. No, if somebody says this is the way to live, this is the way, and you follow this, it's much more easier to do it. You follow it because you have a shape, you are a form, you have a... But if somebody says you need to get out of it, now this is dangerous. So those who want... If I say that this world is exactly as you think it is, it is not true really. It's exactly as you think it is. So follow this procedure and you will get there. Simple, right? Easy to follow. I mean, maybe sometimes difficult to follow, but it's easy to understand and move forward. Suppose I say, no, set aside all that and look into the truth. Not easy. It requires a lot of courage to do that. It's almost like getting into the battlefield when you're faced with cannons. So only two kinds of people will do that. One is the brave and the other is the foolish. Now the Upanishad said the foolish is wise. So, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to convey. So said the ancients, that's all I'm saying. It's not easy at all. We, from the time we are born, in our childhood, and so on, different people have exposure to different things, right? There may be some common factors, but different depending on where you come from, what you're taught, and so on. Now, if you need to have a realistic picture of the reality, then you need to begin to at least doubt these pictures that have been fed into our heads and slowly begin to uncover them. If you don't uncover them, you might think you're free, but you're free according to a pattern which has been given to us or induced in us from childhood. I might think that is freedom. It may not be the freedom which the Buddha talked about, for instance, when he said nirvana is freedom from sorrow. When the Buddha said nirvana is freedom from sorrow, there's a catch in it. He said desire is the root of all sorrow. We are not even asking that. We are saying, can we just look at something as it is, break the ideas you have about it. The idea that we have is, I am distinct from the truth, I have to find the truth. What is said in the Upanishad, this truth is here, you don't have to, it is here. You just need to understand this. So it's a tremendous shift, right, in your thought process and in your, if you really are serious, it's a big shift. The problem usually is that we study everything But keep one part I was saying, it is so, but that but is the but of the matter. So, okay. No, it's good to become old. It's not good that your sight becomes a little dim. Especially small print at a distance. Well, I can go ahead because most of it is by heart. But I don't want to commit a mistake. I have a commitment to you. So I shouldn't say wrong things. I'm going careful. So, the next shloka, 12. 11. Vidyam cha yastat vedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyayam amritam ashnute. Knowledge and ignorance as discussed here. He who knows the two together, which means he who knows what is knowledge and what is ignorance together, crosses death through ignorance and attains life eternal through knowledge. Now this is difficult, right? How can you attain ignorance through, how can you cross death through ignorance? Can you think, please? Why am I going on asking and answering? Knowledge and ignorance, he who knows the two together crosses death through ignorance and attains life eternal through knowledge. Anybody? Please, don't let me think about it all. Right. Okay, 1 second. So if that is so, how does one become immortal through that ignorance?
By understanding that this is not everything, that there is a greater, the Purusha, besides the body and the mind. You get rid of the ignorant part, which is thinking this is all there is. And you, through the knowledge, Ishavasya Upanishad, you take yourself to the higher. Through the knowledge.
Life eternal.
Life eternal means that we neither coming nor going.
So, isn't that also what it means? That you attain immortality, which has been mentioned before, which means you discover an element in you which is neither born nor dies, and therefore is eternal.
Yes.
And therefore discovering that one reaches eternal life. Is that what could it be?
Quite possibly.
Possible. This is good. Don't say yes, say possible. That first step, possible.
There's no final answer.
Yes, possible. Anybody else on this matter? Back. Well, I am trying clarification from you, so now you are the guru. Okay.
Well, based on...
I'm just following the Upanishadic way of dialogue, that's all. Okay.
Well, based on the previous verses, if one understands that ignorance is not the way and understands the distinction from knowledge as given, which is not the way, then the only thing left is the eternal. The only thing left after ignorance and that sort of knowledge is the eternal knowledge, which is immortality.
Is that?
That's what I had in mind.
Peter, what do you think?
I've been ruminating for some time on a question about memory. If memory...
No, stick to this. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Lahiri Mahasaya said once, practice remembrance.
Remember.
So I'm curious if, as we discover that memory cannot be the present moment, but what is he talking about? Practice memory. What's coming through there in the memory?
Remembrance. What is remembrance? To constantly think of what has been written here is also remembrance. Right? Lahiri Mahasaya was quite well educated in the Upanishads. Not that. First of all, he did everything first hand because his Sanskrit was very good. And therefore, when we say remembrance, this Upanishad also at the end talks about remembrance. Krito smara, kritam smara, remember. When we go there, I'll explain it a little more to you.
I know I'm thinking about this too much. I'm struggling. I feel like I'm hitting a wall of my intellect right now, and maybe that's a good thing. I'm dealing a lot with surrender and surrendering my intellect, going beyond it. And a lot of thoughts about the heart are coming into my ideas about that. So I don't know how to ask the question or how it can be discussed, but how does one stop entertaining the mind and go to that surrender beyond knowledge?
Beyond ordinary knowledge. Even to know this is knowledge, right? What you said just now is also knowledge. So you're saying how to go beyond this. First, to accept. When you said surrender, First, to accept that the most intelligent person very soon discovers the limitations of his or her intellect. All problems cannot be solved only by the intellect. Why? Because our intellect is a very limited blueprint created through the data gathered by the five senses. We don't have any other. And therefore, it is by itself quite limited, and to apply the limited to understand the unlimited is not possible. Therefore, the first step is to understand its limitation. It is useful for various other purposes. Okay, understood. Today we are sitting here, there's a sound system, there's the internet. Otherwise you wouldn't see me talking on YouTube. Fine, this is all intelligence. Intellect. But in fact, intellect is not discouraged either in the Upanishadic teachings or anywhere else. The greatest mantra that people chant, it is Vedic, the most popular, most important mantra from the Rig Veda is the Gayatri mantra. Every day, morning, evening, people chant the mantra, those who chant it. And the last sentence of the Gayatri mantra, Diyo yohana prachodayat, by intelligence be stimulated, awakened. But the fact remains that the Upanishad also says, in manasana manyute yanahurmano, that which even the mind cannot deal with or understand, that is the truth. Right. So, the intelligent person, after a great deal of trial, it's good to have a trial. Otherwise you won't believe it. No, you don't have to believe because somebody is saying it, right? After a great deal of understanding, the intelligent man realizes the limitations of his own intellectual process. Where can it go? Up to where can it go? When this is understood, one begins to wonder, is it unnecessarily cerebrating, or can we just, maybe this is not the way. And then what happens? Then there's nowhere to go, no escape, so you settle down. So when you sit, I'm discussing the Upanishad, but I'm also personally talking to you. So I know what you're saying. So when you settle down, also you've been 2-3 days trying to talk to me, so I got a good opportunity. Yeah, right. So soon understands the limitations and therefore begins to wonder, is there a way other than this? Maybe. When the thought begins to occur, then silence begins. Too much of cerebration is going on. You answer one question, there's another springing up. So maybe this is a circuit which goes on, a vicious cycle. So when it is over, and it will be over only if you understand it. If I say it won't be over. There is a possibility. Please don't take it too literally. There is a possibility. Now you have to again question whether what I'm saying is right or wrong, because from my understanding, I have passed through all the things that you are passing through. It's not that I haven't. I've been confused, I've suffered because of that. Sometimes I thought, oh God, I've left everything and burnt my bridges, I can't go back and there's nothing here. Thought has occurred to me, and it's very serious, especially when you really burnt your bridges. It's a burning thought. We've been through all that. So I'm saying the other possibility, which I found. Sitting with a person who has touched it, slowly everything settles down. And then the light shines. No words. The talk, for instance, a particularly difficult time in my mind, not physically, my mind. Trying all kinds of arguments. My mind is arguing with itself. Did I commit a mistake? This man sitting here with matted hair, who knows what he's saying? Really, this has passed through even my mind, believe me. And then I'm sitting there, and then Babaji says, okay, chalo, so let's go. He used to know a little fellow, a little guy from the hill district who ran a tea shop in the corner. Let's go have a cup of tea. And I'm wondering, this man doesn't drink tea generally. So why is he? Again this doubt, maybe he's trying to put me off. So you go and sit there, there's nobody there. The bench, there is nobody on, there are only 2 benches anyway in the front. Only I am sitting on one bench and he is sitting on the other, and the tea maker is making tea, thrilled that he has come for tea. Very thrilled. Won't take money. And we are having a cup of tea, and he is having a nice talk with the tea maker about the different types of tea that comes from Assam, and I am thinking, what the hell is going on here? We were till now discussing something very serious, and now he's talking about tea to this guy, about the Assam, and how tea gets spoiled the moment you drop milk into it, and things like that. I'm sitting down, and at some point, Because this person who is sitting before me, his mind is totally settled. This is how I discovered that it is settled. And for the time being, your mind is taken off from the thing that you were discussing. And I'm also thinking about this tea. And then suddenly you look and everything is silent. Everything is silent. And then you understand. So the possibility I was talking about is that if there is someone whose mind is fully settled, and if you be with a person, move with a person, perhaps without discussion and argument, the mind settles down, perhaps. And then you begin to understand what it means. This possibility is there. Which is why probably they said it's good to have someone who has gone through this as a guide. Not because of anything else, not because you probably might find it yourself. I don't know, possible. I don't think some of the rishis had any other teachers. They just figured it out. But it's difficult, it's not so easy. If there is someone whose mind... So what happens when you become intimate with that person? Your mind and that person's mind are now moving at the same frequency, at least for a short while. At that point, something from here gets understood there. It's almost like, the tuner in your radio, which is most of the time making many noises and so on, and then tune it exactly, and then the song comes out. It's something. Yeah, you said something.
So, what is the mind? They say it's manas, and there's different parts of the manas, and some scriptures say it's part of the heart. So on and so forth. So I just like some clarification.
Okay. So what is the mind? There's plenty of time, don't worry. We have to go this way, otherwise there's no point. I can finish reading and say, okay, over, goodbye. Yes. What is manas? That was your question. What is mind? Some say it is here, some say... Okay. The meaning of the word manas, mind, is that which operates in the field of your thought. Man is that which operates in the field of thought. So the location depends on different factors, but as long as it is operating on thought, as long as thought in an individual way is operating, it is still the mind. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, not only Patanjali, in the Yoga Darsana, the whole thing is the mind, approach is the mind. The definition of yoga is yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. Here manas and chitta are not different in this field, in the Yoga Darsana. When the movement of the chitta, the movement of thought, with its own vicious cycle, comes to an end, when all the vrittis, which means the movements of the waves in the mind, are still, are completely gone, then that mind is no longer a mind, then it is just a reflection of the Purusha, according to the Yoga Darsana. No mind remains except the Purusha. Now, so what could that Purusha be if it is not thought? Thought can interpret it, but it is the source of consciousness which raises thought.
So, is thought the same as emotion?
Emotion also has thought, but deep emotions first happen and then thought builds upon it. Like if you get angry, sudden emotion, or fear. Fear is a good example. Fear comes first, then it is translated into words and thoughts. The first thing is fear. You get what I'm trying to say? You are afraid suddenly. Everybody has fear, okay? The object or the reason for fear may be different. You may be afraid of something. I may be afraid of something else. May not be the same thing. But the common factor in all humanity is fear. Not what you're afraid of. That may differ. Fear. In the same way, anger is a feeling. That feeling need not necessarily come with any thought, but we interpret it with thought. We say, this is why it happened, this is what it means, this is how I feel when I have fear. But fear, when it's actually there, when it rises, none of these definitions apply. It's just fear. So, pure emotion, before it is explained and interpreted by the mind, has no thought. But it is difficult to stay there. If you can stay, see what happens. For instance, when fear comes, the mind begins to interpret it. You know why? Because it doesn't want to face it. Because it doesn't want to actually face it, because it is one time you face it, it is finished forever. But we feel that this is a danger, so we can't break this protective circle around us. So thought weaves this whole picture around it and says, this fear is because of this fear is because of that. Fear is an emotion, it's nothing to do with because of this or because of that. It is built, if you say biologically, it's built into your limbic system. The moment you're faced with something dangerous, it reacts. There is fear. The whole body is filled with fear. Adrenaline is pumped into the system. Then we start interpreting. The brain, the thinking brain begins to play its part. And then we have explained it and put it in a cubbyhole and think that we have freed ourselves from fear. We haven't. We have covered it with explanation, the mind. The raw thing called fear which you face, it's not gone, it's just been swept under a collection of thought processes, explained away rather. It's not gone. If you see it actually, without explaining it away, you have seen fear, you have seen anger, you have seen love, everything is seen. You see, when you feel that, fear or anger, it's all something in the pit of your stomach here. It's one thing, but the mind interprets it in different ways, gives explanations, packs it off for the time being. But it is not dead, it is still there, alive. Behind you.
So is it possible to, if you experience fear or love or any other emotion, to just see that emotion and not allow the mind to interpret it at all?
It is possible. It's not easy, but it is possible. Yes, follow up.
No, I mean, so how do you see the emotion
Okay.
and not react?
Okay.
How
No. It's not reacting. It's not explaining it away.
Right.
There are two things. You should. If you see danger, you will react to it. It is a natural built-in factor that you react to it. I react to it and then I explain it away. I should have reacted. I should not have reacted. This is why I reacted. The reaction is normal, natural. I'm saying when anger arises, many people, so I always get angry now. How do I get rid of this anger? You see, the problem is I get angry and then after I get angry, I'm trying to take it off because it is uncomfortable for me. It causes problems, right? Anything that you are doing on this earth, any plan, if you really look at it, it might have been done better if you were not angry. Right? But it happened. Now after it happens, then I try to figure out how to stop it, so that next time when anger comes, I can plan accordingly. And there are simple ways, like people say, go have a cup of water. But anger is not gone, you see, the anger is inside. I have temporarily managed to cover it up with explanations, or in the worst cases, by exploiting it fully. Two ways of doing it. But the anger, again it comes up, because anger is not gone. Anger need not go. It is the explanation that has to go. And the reaction that has to go. Anger is part of you. Where are you running away from? You are made up of anger, jealousy, fear. This is what we are made up of. Are we separate from that? So what are you running? Who is running away from what? You get what I'm trying? Okay, I separate myself into two parts. I say, I am the pure self. I don't know exactly what it is, but I say, because I have heard or read, I am the pure self. And what are these things that are in me? These emotions, these are the impure mind. It is the mind. That other one which says, I am the pure self, is also the mind. Is it different? Have you any way to reckon if it's different? And making this artificial division between the two, I am trying to say that I must take care of that. I am that. I am made up of that, right? Am I different from it? So when you see that there is nothing you can do about it, you are that, it is all you. You are made up of all this. It's not separate. There is no one thing sitting far away and saying, I am out of this, these are my bad things, I'm trying to purify it. It's the you who is made up of this that is trying to purify what? If you say the Upanishad say there is a true self, that self you don't know. You know only the self which is there with us. We are saying that if you face it and you look at it carefully and see that no way you can turn it off because it is you, the attempt to turn it off disappears and everything settles down. And when everything settles down, there is only the self. That is the self, not that self which is saying, oh, I'm pure, I need to change this and so on and so forth. I am not. I am this. You heard that there was a person who was supposed to be a wise man, a yogi or whatever, but he used to run a cigarette and pan shop in the back streets of Bombay called Nisargadatta Maharaj. Many people used to go there. Some foreigners, somebody from Switzerland went and wrote a book, sorry, I didn't use the word, wrote a book after talking to him called You Are That. Some conversations were recorded and written into English. You are that. So during the last few years of his life, when I was wandering, I had the opportunity to go and see this person. He was a simple person. He offered a cup of tea. There was no big crowd at that time. He offered a cup of tea and he asked me, do you want a cigarette? I said, no. He said, then I'll smoke. I said, okay. And then we had just a chat. Where did you come from? Where? I said, nothing, no philosophy. Then I said, but Maharaj, I heard that, I've read that book called I Am That. He said, what is it? So I explained to him. He said, yeah, I know. He said, वो कोई अंग्रेज आया हुआ था यहाँ some person had come here from outside the country. We had some dialogues and I heard he has written a book. So I said, good. So he just said, I am that. Then he laughed and he said, but I am this. I was shocked. I said, but मैं तो ये हूँ, he said. So, this I am that is usually projected. But really what is I am this. This young lady had something.
Earlier, sir, you talked about how you would not fear death if you could take everyone here that you love.
Say that again.
You said earlier in the morning you would not fear death if you could take everyone and everything that you love here with you, right? Natural fear response is in your limbic system, but only you said if you recognize it with your mind, is it there? So what if you're scared of death, but you know I cannot recognize it to get there? How do you reconcile the two?
Say that again.
How do you reconcile the fear of the natural fear response in your body, right, with the desire to touch Isha, but also know that, oh, I cannot take all these things I love here with me? Like knowing that you have this feeling, but you cannot touch it. You said you cannot acknowledge it, or it will continue to persist.
Last part again.
If you decide to give a reason for your fear, then it will persist.
If you decide to?
Give a reason for your fear.
Reason, yes.
I'm scared because of this, then it will persist.
Yes. We all have reasons, right, of fear. I was not saying that we should not give a reason for fear. Everybody has a reason for fear. I was only saying that it is a common factor in all human beings. Fear. Your fear may be for something and my fear may be for something else, but fear is a common factor. This is what I'm trying to say. It's an emotion. It's a common factor. It may not be the same with you and me, but it is there. Now, how did you connect it with death and leaving him?
You said that if you fear death and you say, I want to take everything and everything.
Then there is no fear of death. That's what I said. You don't fear death then. Suppose I am assured that when I die, all the things that I consider near and dear to me will stay with me even after I die. Then I wouldn't be afraid of it. That's what I was trying to say.
But you can't know that. No one can possibly know that.
Who said?
Right? Possible.
It is possible. Because would you understand, suppose you understand the fact that here I am and I am not going anywhere. All these things will fall off when the body dies. But I am not the body but something else, which is beyond even the process of thought. If this is fully understood, then there is no fear of death because you don't worry if you want to carry anything with you. That's what I was trying to convey. Now don't think of death, you're too young right now. But then it's interesting that death is, physical death, is something that no one can predict. Nobody. Ask anybody, that is going to go, yes. He is going to die, yes. He is going to die, yes. What about you? It takes a long time to say yes. I also have to. You look at the biography of every human being. Every human being. Somebody was very poor. These are the popular ones. Somebody was very poor. Started from scratch. And and then he grew, he did this, that, he sacrificed this, he grew and he became big and keep on And then you keep asking, and then, then he got a big estate, he got some, okay, then it goes on. Then he had many companies with hundreds of people working. Then he died. Now, wait a minute, you say, wait a minute. Then you go to another person. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, or maybe gold. And he didn't have to work hard, he suddenly became a political figure. He didn't know anything about grassroots, but that was all right. And then he grew and he grew and he grew and he became big and then he died. So you're wondering if this is the end. What was that interim period when we were doing all this? So I'm not saying this to frighten anybody, I'm just saying that it is inevitable. The moment you are born on this earth, a day you're going to go. This earth also, which is come from somewhere, wherever, is going to end at some point. All the ancient books talk about the catastrophes that happened and whole civilizations were wiped out. This is also possible. People build monuments to last for 100 years, 200 years, but they are gone. The guys who built the monument, somebody else is enjoying it. This is quite normal. So what I'm trying to convey is live without fear of this, because it is anyway you can't help it. So what is the use of getting frightened and running away from it? I'm not saying you should jump from a 10-foot wall because I'm not afraid of death. Not that. That's an impractical thing to do. So, now we'll come back to the Upanishad. We've gone around quite a bit. So why did we go into all this? No, which from stanza 11 we moved, right? So vidyam cha yastad vedobhyo saha, knowledge and ignorance. He who knows the two together, meaning who knows that knowledge is the absence of ignorance, and what you call knowledge is also ignorance in some way. He who understands both these things together crosses death through ignorance, which means understanding the facts of life, which compared to the universal is ignorance. He crosses ignorance, death through ignorance, and attains life eternal through knowledge. So understanding the real meaning of knowledge, he attains life eternal. I think you all shouldn't be reading it because it always keeps saying he. Why not she? Anyway. So then the 12th shloka. Now, previously in the one shloka which we read before said, those who worship ignorance enter into darkness, and those who worship knowledge enter into greater darkness. We discussed that. Not go back to that. The 12th says something very similar. Andham tama pravishanti ye asambhutim upasate tato bhuya yivate tamo yahu sambhutyam rasaha. Into blinding darkness enter those who worship the unmanifest, and into still greater darkness, as it were, those who delight in the manifest. Now the manifest and the unmanifest. The manifest is this world with its thoughts and its structures and its rules, this is the manifest world. The unmanifest is the root of all this which stays untouched by any of these things, but from where the whole thing has come. This is the unmanifest Brahman, the Supreme. But the unmanifest and the manifest are only two processes. One is unmanifest and the other is manifest. That which is unmanifest and manifests itself is not two different things, it's the same thing, right? What we see is the manifested world. What we worship is the manifested world. But if it is there must be an unmanifested something from which the manifest has come. The Upanishad is saying, into blinding darkness enter those who worship the unmanifest. What they're trying to say is that there is no separation between the manifest and the unmanifest. There is no separation. The separation is artificial. Separation is created by the mind. So if you say, I want to leave this manifest world, I want to leave, I want that unmanifest, you're saying both the manifest and unmanifest is the same. There is no difference between the two. Worship, meaning, yeah. Yes. Worship. Samadhanam shantam. Which means, when you see the manifest world, we see the manifest world and we appreciate all the success of the manifest world and we see everything, and so we worship it, right? Worship doesn't mean just doing that worship. Worship is an attitude. I worship all that is successful, not me. I worship all that is intelligent. I worship all that looks beautiful. Well, in ancient times they also worshipped that which looks terrible. Bhadrakali was also worshipped. Terrible. But normally I worship all that is nice, all that is good, all that is successful. So they are saying if you do that, you enter into darkness. Now, because of that, if I say, I will have nothing to do with this world, I worship only the unmanifest, still you will enter darkness, because there is no way you can get out of here. What? You do what? Yeah, exactly. You trick yourself into saying, no, I don't worship any of these, I worship only the unmanifest. The unmanifest is only there in my mind, I don't even know where it is or what it is, right? So the Upanishad is saying, be careful, walk carefully, tread carefully. This world that you see is nothing but an expression of the unmanifest. You don't have to run out of it and run away from it. Understand that both are the same and they're two parts of the same coin, they're not different. So, and you have no access, the mind in its limited form has no access to the unmanifest. So if you say, I worship the unmanifest, I am only worshipping the image formed by my mind of the unmanifest. I really don't know what the unmanifest. The only thing I can do is worship the manifest for me. So they are saying, take care of that. Don't get into an illusion. Oh, this unmanifested Brahman is the only reality. Therefore I am closing the chapter of all that is manifest. So what are you doing? I am going off to Kashi. Kashi is still manifest. Have you been to Kashi? I have lived in Kashi for many years. It's not entirely heaven anyway. Like any other place on earth. I mean, there are some good things, but that's different. So, this is what the Upanishad is trying to convey. Okay, now regarding this thing about manifest and unmanifest, if according to the Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, that Supreme Being is all-pervading, We are dealing with the Upanishad, right? So it says, Ishavasya Idam Sarvam, that supreme reality pervades everything here. Then it should be also in the unmanifest. Why are we running away from it? Pervades everything here, right? So, I was about to say something, but we have only 1 minute. I don't know whether. Why am I counting minutes? Minutes don't exist. I'll come back and tell you. It's something about the manifest and the unmanifest, and that which is pure and that which is all-pervading. So when we come back, we'll discuss it for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then move forward to the next. How was that Upanishad classes going on in Boston? Stopped? But it was nice. There were people very serious.
Supposed to be a mental exercise?
Punishing? I didn't get. What? Say that? No, I didn't hear.
When we study the Upanishad or discuss it or do this, the whole Upanishad, I'm trying to get a grip on it. Is this, the whole thing, supposed to be a mental exercise?
Of course.
To either go beyond it, exhaust us so we experience?
Yes.
And maybe this is a description of what the experience is like so we understand when we have it.
Yes. But when you do it, it still is an intellectual exercise. There's no question about that. But you're trying, there is no way to free yourself from the intellectual process other than through the intellect. So this is what we're trying to do, which is why they already said in the Mundaka Upanishad that all these are lower knowledge. In the morning we refer to that. And then they said, then what is higher knowledge? That which leads you to the truth. But then still you need to study, right?
I mean, it's a fun way to look at things.
Not fun way, seriously.
I mean, it's stimulating, it's exciting, it's intellectual and everything.
True, true.
But I'm not beyond fear, I'm not beyond, this isn't taking me there.
Yes.
It's just teasing me.
No, it's not
And
teasing.
When I go there, I'll be able to go back and say, remember that chapter.
Yes.
I know what I'm experiencing if my guru's not around.
Yes,
I don't have to ask anybody. I've read that.
Right. So somebody has to say that. So this is what they're saying.
It's been driving me nuts.
I know. It's driving you. That's a good sign. Which means you're not just listening and going away and finishing with it. It's nice. In fact, one day you should get up and say, got it, and walk out. I will be so happy. Okay. You ask me when I come back. Because that was a high energy ballistic missile. Okay. I have a feeling tomorrow we might do another opening.